What's up? What's up? Let me get my music together. I don't know why I'd be so delayed with this. Hold on. There we go. Hey y'all. How y'all doing? I hope all is well. I'll give everyone some time to come in. I got my Celsius. It's a little late for Celsius, but I'm gonna take a swig. I'm gonna take a little swig, okay? Just a little swig. All right. Give some people some time to come in. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. I hope everyone had a great weekend, had a great Monday. We made it to the end of the day, which is definitely a plus. Hey Kiki, how are you? We made it to the end of the day. So now we can get ready for bed. Watch the live, then get ready for bed, or get ready for bed while watching the live, as long as you're watching the live, okay? If this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I am a certified meditation mindfulness coach. I do these lives every week, talking and discussing mindfulness topics. Today, we are discussing self-care. Self-care is something that I feel like I talk a lot about. So today I want to focus on, I think we all talk a lot about self-care. Everything we run into is self-care, self-love, and yada, yada, yada. But I want to focus on just evaluating our self-care and what we're doing. Yes, affirmations and then bed. How school's good. I actually just finished my second quarter, which is great. I got my grades in. Well, one of my classes, I don't have all my grades in, but in that class, I already have a 96. I'm waiting for one grade, so we'll see how that goes. My other class, all of my grades are in, and I ended at a 93. Still a little bit mad about the 2 points because I was trying to get to the 95, but God is good. I'll take it. So my overall GPA right now is at a 3.8 something until I find out what my last grade is. So school's great. It was tough though. This quarter I had to evaluate myself and basically assess myself, diagnose myself, and treat myself. So there's that. Thank you. I try to be a star student. I'm one of those people that's like really adamant. Like if I don't have an A, then I failed. Like I don't know why I'm like that. Maybe it's something I need to work through. But so far, all A's, 4 classes, all A's. So I want to keep it consistent. I want to get that that chord at the end of my program when I walk down the aisle. So that's my goal. But yeah, school's great. But yeah, I'm excited for tonight. In speaking about school and in speaking about work and speaking about life in general, self-care is important. So we have tonight, we have, yes, 333, yes. Yes, no, I definitely, this past quarter, again, I had to evaluate and diagnose myself and treat myself with a few things. So I did scale back on some things and like just repurposing my energy to focus on other things. So I am taking into consideration all the work that I'm doing and making adjustments and changes based on that. I feel good about it. It's not the easiest decisions to make, but it all kind of wraps into our topic, which is self-care. And I needed to really think about how I was caring for myself and how I was not necessarily people pleasing, but really considering people that weren't necessarily considering me. So I had to like really make adjustments to my day-to-day and my routine and my lifestyle and the effort of making sure that my self-care and my care for my well-being is intact. Sometimes we sacrifice for the people in our lives, whether it be for work, for our jobs, for school, for our kids, for our spouse, for our friends, for family. We sacrifice, and then wonder why we're depressed and why we're sad and why we feel unfulfilled and why we're frustrated and why we're burned out all the time. It's because we're trying to fix things that we're not meant to fix. We're trying to help people that don't want to be helped. We trying to do all of the things, right? And so this is really just a matter of really evaluating self-care and what we call self-care, and really thinking about, am I really caring for myself? What does that actually look like? So I'm glad you asked, because that does help me segue into the topic. So for self-care, we have 8 affirmations tonight. Yeah, thank you. Yes. I'm excited too. So we have 8 affirmations, but typically I like to give overviews before I go into the affirmations. But this overview is really an evaluation of a check-in of our own personal self-care. Okay, so there's 4 questions that I want us to ask ourselves in regards to self-care, and then that will lead us into the affirmations. So the first question that I want you to ask yourself in regards to self-care is my self-care consistent? Okay, is my self-care consistent? Sometimes we struggle with self-care because we only do it when the red light is flashing, when we know that something's wrong, when we can clearly see that there is a void wherever we need that self-care at. We only do it when we see that red light, when we see the flashing lights, when we see that red button, we want to push it. Like, being consistent in self-care is so important on a daily basis, and you're making little small deposits of self-care, so that way you're not overwhelming yourself with, okay, now I got a whole lot of crap going on. I'm depleted. I'm at my bare minimum. Now I need to do something. No, let's be proactive, right? Be proactive in your self-care. Give yourself little seeds, little deposits along the way, and it will allow that little garden to grow. Whereas we're trying to, grow a garden, and we see that it's not working, and then we pour a bunch of water on it thinking that it's going to help and it's going to grow tomorrow, and it's not, right? So understanding that we have to plant our little self-care seeds, we have to be proactive, we have to make sure that we are consistent, and ensure that we're thinking of how we can make it consistent realistically. Because I think sometimes we are a little bit overzealous with, okay, I'm gonna do this and this and this every day. And sometimes it don't take all that, right? Just making little deposits is what's most important. Yes, of course. Yes. Please. If you have to do other things and listen, that's perfectly okay. Hi, Shaphonia. Welcome in. Yes, talking about self-care. I'm asking 4 questions for us to evaluate self-care. I only did 1 question. The first question was, is my self-care consistent? Making sure that we're doing something, making small deposits every day. Number 2, is my self-care effective, right? Is my self-care effective? Self-care is most effective when it's restorative. Just in speaking with, I did a workshop, I think I posted pictures. I did a workshop with one of the therapists that I've been working with. I kind of, consider a mentor at this point. And this is one of the things that she said heavily was that when it comes to self-care, it has to be restorative. And what restores you is going to look different. What restores you is going to look different from other people, but it's also going to look different from day to day. What restores you today may not be what you need tomorrow, right? So, and she gave the analogy of like, well, not necessarily analogy, the example. She gave the example of the fact that she doesn't necessarily like going to get her nails done. Like, that's not something that she considered to be self-care. It didn't really was restorative. And me too. Sometimes getting my nails done makes me anxious, because it's like, okay, I gotta pick color, I gotta figure out what shape I want, then I gotta sit in this chair, and then the chair, like sometimes those little massage chairs don't be the most massagey. So it's like sometimes it's not as, self-care as we may think. And so we think we have these pictures or depictions in our minds of what self-care should look like. And we do those things and then, pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, I had self-care today. But that's not maybe necessarily what you needed. Really, what you may have needed is just to sit and listen to some music. Or maybe all you needed was to sit and, listen to a book that gives you one line that's inspiring. Maybe you just needed to get some rest and go to sleep. Maybe you were hungry and you just didn't eat good that day. You needed to eat. So it's going to be self-care. True self-care is supposed to be restorative. It's supposed to be effective in that way. And it's supposed to make sure that not necessarily supposed to, but you want to make sure that you are aware of what your needs are, so that way you know what restores you in that any given time, because it may look different. So is my self-care effective? Am I, in the way that I'm viewing self-care for myself, does it make sense? Is it actually fulfilling a need? Is it actually restoring me? Or am I just going through the motions? Or am I just doing what I think I'm supposed to do versus what I actually truly and really need? So that's the second question you want to use in evaluating your self-care. The third question is my self-care healthy? Is my self-care healthy? Is it inspiring? Is it progressive? Is it restoring? Just make sure to not allow our unhealthy habits to be our self-care, right? So, for example, my self-care sometimes is overindulging in food, right? It's like, oh, I had a long day. I'm gonna get me a brownie. I'm gonna get some ice cream. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Now, granted, do you treat yourself? Yes. But can it be a little much to where now you feel worse than what you felt before you indulged? Then was that self-care? That wasn't self-care, sis. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was an overindulgent. And that's just like a quick funny one when it comes to like even food, but that's not even funny, because some people overindulge and then you're overweight and then you have this progressive health issues. It can evolve. So really thinking about, is my self-care actually healthy, right? Am I using my unhealthy habits as a means for self-care? And then is it, when it comes to actually thinking through those unhealthy habits, is it something that there's a fine line, or is it something that I probably shouldn't be doing at all? Is it something I should be gauging, should be aware of? Just really thinking through like what you're actually using and whether it's healthy for you, and whether it's progressive, whether it's still helping you grow or move forward or be a better version of yourself, right? Because I think sometimes we think of self-care as like, oh, let me just have a drink, let me go get some wine or whatever, which is fine for if that's what you want to do. But if you have an alcohol problem, is that necessarily something that I should gravitate towards when it comes to self-care? Am I using it as a self-care am I using it as a way to self-care, as an excuse for you to be able to do what you want to do as far as your unhealthy habits? Thinking through that all, thinking through, all of those things. I don't want to be all in your business. You know what I'm saying? You know what you be doing. So think through it, journal it, really think about what you're using for self-care. Even if it's a matter of just writing out a list. When I need self-care, this is what I gravitate towards, or this is what I do, and writing it out, listing out everything, and then looking at that list and seeing, is this effective? Is this consistent? Is this healthy? And lastly, is my self-care holding me accountable, right? Is it holding me accountable for my needs, right? So thinking about, does my self-care complement my needs, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. And that just kind of goes back to unhealthy versus healthy habits. All right. Is it holding me accountable? Am I being honest with myself? Sometimes self-care is going to the doctor, right? Because if you notice that there's things going on with you and that's impacting you on a day-to-day, the first thing you should think about, maybe I need to go get some blood work done. Maybe I need to go get some things checked out. So maybe self-care is being honest with yourself and setting up that doctor's appointment. Maybe it's planning out your schedule a little bit better. Maybe it's building out a routine. You may not even have a routine. So like, it may be being proactive and building out a routine. So thinking about all of these things. Is my self-care consistent? Is my self-care effective? Is my self-care healthy? And is my self-care holding me accountable? Are all great ways to evaluate and gauge whether your current routine or the current way that you are thinking about or using self-care being the best for you. Okay, so awesome. I wanted to make sure I go through those. We have 8 affirmations. Again, you can use these affirmations however you wish to. Feel free to write them down if you want to put them on sticky notes. If you want to record yourself saying them, you just want to recite them every morning, feel free to do so. If you need to change the language, please do so. If there's some of them you don't like and you want to pick and choose which ones you use, perfectly okay too. So, affirmation number 1. Just a second here. Okay. Affirmation number 1. I make self-care a consistent priority in my life. I make self-care a consistent priority in my life. It just goes back to point number 1. Is your self-care consistent? Is it a priority for it to be consistent? Make it a priority daily. How can I care for myself for today? What do I need today? Really taking that into consideration. I make self-care a consistent priority in my life. Number 2, I deserve to take care of myself and prioritize my well-being. I deserve to take care of myself and prioritize my well-being. I'll say that one more time. I deserve to take care of myself and prioritize my well-being. Just understand that you deserve to take care of yourself. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. Taking care of yourself doesn't mean that you care less about others. Taking care of yourself doesn't mean that you are it means you're in need, but I feel like sometimes we take on that shame of being needy, right? I'm just so needy. I hate that I'm this needy. There should be no shame in that. If you have a need, fulfill that need for yourself. You deserve that. And understand that you deserve that. It's okay to prioritize your well-being, even if it makes other people upset. You got to take care of yourself. And a lot of times those decisions of prioritizing yourself can be difficult decisions. And sometimes it's not easy because you don't want to let people down and you don't want to, you made a commitment to someone or you made a commitment to something, but because of your own personal, depletion, that you have to change and adjust how your approach with that. Don't feel the shame of it. It's okay. It's all right that you need to take care of yourself. Sometimes you need to sleep. Sometimes you need to stop what you're doing and get some food. Sometimes you need to stop what you're doing and just take a breath. That's okay. So I deserve to take care of myself and prioritize my well-being. Yes, period. Needy me needs to fulfill my need. Absolutely. Yes. If other people need you, they gonna tell you that they need you. They're like, oh, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. So if you need you need to say, hey self, myself said, I need you, self. Okay, self, I got you, girl. Like you have you have to fulfill that need. Otherwise, that burden is going to weigh on you, and then you're going to wonder why you're sad, why you're depressed, why you're frustrated, why you're depleted, why you're anxious, why you're frustrated and confused. So yes, hey, self said, you gotta tell yourself, okay. That was, I deserve to take care of myself and prioritize my well-being. Number 3, I build healthy habits that support my physical and emotional health. I build healthy habits that support my physical and emotional health. I'll say that one more time. I build healthy habits that support my physical and emotional health. You have to build healthy habits. Healthy is the key word. A lot of, like I was saying before, sometimes our self-care ain't so selfie, ain't so carry, because it's not healthy. So really thinking about what you're calling self-care, and is it healthy? Now, granted, there are going to be some things where it's like, okay, yeah, I want an extra cookie, or I want to eat some ice creams today, or whatever. That's fine here and there. But if you got high cholesterol, high blood pressure, you shouldn't be eating a whole bunch of salty or a whole bunch of full cholesterol foods if you know it's a detriment to your health, right? So we got to really think about, is it healthy? Can I indulge a little bit? Or if I am going to indulge, I'm going to limit it to this, so that way I'm not overindulging and not hurting myself in the long run. So just keep that all in mind. It's an old pastor phrase. Yeah, I'm a little old school. It come out a little bit from time to time. My bad, y'all. So that was, I build healthy habits and support my physical and emotional health. That was number 3. Number 4, my self-care routine restores my energy and rejuvenates my spirit. My self-care routine restores my energy and rejuvenates my spirit. My self-care routine restores my energy and rejuvenates my spirit. Like I was saying earlier, your self-care routine, or what you call self-care, has to be restorative. Has to restore you. It has to give you energy. Not necessarily have to, but it has to give you that rejuvenation, that inspiration, that motivation. You have to think about those things as being a part of your self-care. Because a lot of times we just need a pep talk. Right? Is there a video that you can, of a motivational speaker that you listen to that you really, really like, that you maybe save to a playlist? And anytime that you get into a headspace of, I need something, I feel unmotivated, I feel uninspired, like what do I do in those moments? You play the playlist, right? I have a playlist I'm building now, which is basically, it's more of a spiritual one, but it's specific to rebuilding my mindset, or resetting my mindset. And I'm building out a playlist, a video playlist on my YouTube, which is basically, it's a private one, of course. You can make them private, but pulling it up and saying, okay, like I'm in a bad headspace. Let me just start listing and pulling out all these videos and just play them all back to back, right? So thinking of different, and that's something that you can do whenever. With self-care, don't have to be a long drawn out weekend vacation. It can literally be listening to a video. I like to listen to and when I say listen to a video, YouTube. So I like to put on like YouTube videos while I work and just listen to something that's inspirational, right? That's inspiring. I may not catch all the words because I'm working, but every once in a while I catch something like, ooh, I needed that. So just thinking about ways that you can even integrate it into your day. But yes, my self-care routine restores my energy and rejuvenates my spirit. Number 5, I choose to nourish myself and remain patient with the process. I choose to nourish myself and remain patient with the process. I choose to nourish myself and remain patient with the process. Self-care is a choice, right? You have to choose to do it. You have to choose to move into it. You have to choose and be intentional with it. It's not something that's just going to fall into your lap. Like I said earlier, be proactive. You have to be proactive with your self-care. Because if you're not, you're going to activate self-care when it's too late. You're going to activate self-care when you're already depressed. You're going to activate self-care when you're already at the height of your confusion or frustration. You're going to activate self-care when you're already angry. Whereas if you're proactive, you're making those little seed deposits, bop, 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 making all those little deposits. And then when something happens, you're already in a better state than you would have been if you weren't implementing your routine. So be intentional with your self-care. You have to make a choice daily to nourish yourself. And then also remain patient while you're in the process. This ain't going to be perfect every day. It's not going to be perfect tomorrow. You're going to progressively get better. And then you may miss a day or two. So don't beat yourself up. Just be patient with yourself. I recommend that a manifestation, motivational, gospel, pop music playlist, and a secondary social media account with sound therapy. Yes, of course. Make sure music playlists, I have plenty of those, different ones for different reasons. I have a rest playlist where if I'm having trouble falling asleep, it's all inspirational music that I put on that's on a playlist that will help me get rest. If I have a morning playlist. Every morning I play the same playlist to start my day. That's also an inspirational music or gospel music that I put on in the morning. And before I listen to anything, that's what I listen to, because I want my state of mind to be in a certain state when I start my day. I have a playlist that is just a chill playlist, just feel good music, just music that makes me happy and excited. And I just put that on, throughout the day. I have a playlist for, I forget what I even called it, but it's a playlist for when I'm sad or when I'm angry and I just need something, a pick me up, and it's motivating or it's inspiring music. I have that. Pop that on. And then I have my YouTube playlist of videos that I watch that, hey, I don't feel too good about myself right now. I need something. And I put that on. So you have to be intentional with what you need. I have my biggest concerns for myself is positive self-talk. I've always had issues with positive self-talk. So if I know that that's a need that I have, if I know that that's a shortcoming that I struggle with, if I know that I struggle with self-doubt and it's a consistent thing that I struggle with, then I need to put things in place for that combats my self-doubt. So that's why I have all these different playlists, and that's why I start my day the way that I start my day. You have to really think about mental health wise, where am I struggling the most? Is it anxiety? Is it self-esteem? Is it, depression? Am I always sad all of the time? Is that something that I'm dealing with? Then maybe I need to think about what I'm watching. Maybe I need to think about what I'm listening to. Whatever you see and whatever you hear is making deposits into your spirit. Point blank, period. Whatever you see, whatever you hear is making deposits into your spirit. And if all you're seeing is chaos and all you're hearing is chaos, then the chaos is going to be here internally. So you have to intentionally change and shift what you're seeing and what you're hearing, so that way it shifts and changes what you're feeling. Make sense? So, where was I at, y'all? I choose to nourish myself and remain patient with the process. Yes, you have to make a choice. Be intentional with what you are choosing and what you are doing and being aware of it. That was number 5. So number 6, I am not defined by the expectations of those around me. I am not defined by the expectations of those around me. I am not defined by the expectations of those around me. Understanding that a lot of times we fall prey to not implementing self-care because of what other people around us want us to do, what their expectations are of us, what they're used to, you know. They're used to you always being there. They're used to you always reaching out. They're used to you always being present. And because they're used to it, now it's shifting to it from, it's basically shifting from, oh, it's great that they're there for me, to, oh, they're going to be there for me. There's going to be a shift in that, and that's their expectation now. And now when they have that expectation of you always being there, and you're not there that one time out of the 50,000 times that you've been there, now all of a sudden you boo-boo kitty. Okay, so let's just remove the shame and guilt surrounding their other people's expectations of you, right? So I am not defined by the expectations of those around me, and I'm going to take on my well-being, and my well-being is first at this point. Okay, so that was number 6. I'm not defined by the expectations of those around me. Number 7, I am enough and worthy of love and acceptance. I am enough and worthy of love and acceptance. I am enough and worthy of love and acceptance. So just thinking about that previous affirmation of not allowing, the expectations of others to, define you, understanding that you are enough the way that you are, and that you are, in spite of what that is or whatever that may look like at this time, you are worthy of love and acceptance as you are, right? Even in those moments where you're not the best version of yourself. And sometimes we're not the best version of ourselves because we lack that continuous or consistent self-care, and we're not providing ourselves with self-care. So even in those moments, even if you find in this moment now that, hey, I haven't been really taking care of myself the way that I should, understand, even in that version of yourself, you are enough. And even in that version of yourself, you still deserve and are worthy of love and acceptance, not just by others, but by yourself, for yourself. You are worthy of your own love, and you are worthy of your own acceptance. And that's what's most important. So I am enough and worthy of love and acceptance. And then lastly, number 8, I invest in myself and am free to define my own version of success. I invest in myself and am free to define my own version of success. I invest in myself and am free to define my own version of success. You have to invest in yourself. Not just with money, because when you hear invest, you may think of, oh, I got to buy myself something. No, that's not what I'm talking about. You need to invest in yourself emotionally, spiritually, physically. You have to be intentional, what we talked about earlier. You have to make the choice to do so. You have to, make it consistent. But most of all, you have to invest time into yourself, whatever that looks like. And you are free to define what success looks like, right? Because sometimes we have a depiction of what success is supposed to look like based off of what we see, right? So I was saying earlier, what we see and what we hear is what makes deposits into our soul. So if you're seeing the artificial versions of what success is supposed to look like, and that's all you're looking at, and that's all you're seeing, and that's all you're taking in, that's all you're hearing, then you have a false perception of what success looks like, and you're trying to accomplish a false narrative, right? And so if you're taking the time to try to go after what this false narrative is supposedly looking like, This is why we're depleted. This is why we're burned out. This is why we're frustrated. This is why we feel like we're not making progress, because we're going after or thirsting after something that is fake, right? It's false. So you have the ability to define your own version of what success looks like. What is most important to you, and what does that look like? What does success look like? And is that depiction, or what does that, if that does that success, is that a false narrative? Is that something you just saw? Is that something that you are striving for because you just see it on social media and it looks cool? Or is that really define what you want, what you need, and what your capabilities are, right? So just understanding that you have to invest in yourself, not just financially, but spiritually, emotionally. And then fundamentally, you have the ability to define what your version of success looks like. And understanding that you don't need to look over the fence to figure that out. You can figure that out on your own, based off of your own needs, your own passions, your own inspirations, your own motivation. You can figure that on your own. You don't have to compare yourself to other people to figure out what success looks like. So just taking the time to explore that. What are your values, right? What is your purpose? What is a purpose in life, right? We all have one. Right? What is that purpose? What is it, something that I'm here to fulfill? And using that as a gauge of your success. Only your accomplishments should be gauging your success, right? What you do on a day-to-day basis should be engaging your success. Everybody else don't matter, because you don't know what chapter that person is on when you're looking at someone else's life. You may be on chapter 3 and you're looking at someone that's at chapter 27 and you're like, why am I not there? I'm supposed to be there. I'm supposed to be where they are. And we at the same age. Just because you're at the same age as somebody don't mean you on the same chapter. You on a different chapter. You in a different part or version of the story, right? So sometimes we compare ourselves to these narratives that make no sense, and that is not even where we're supposed to be. It's not even our assignment. It's not even something that we really want. We just see it and we like, oh, I want that. No, you don't. You wasn't even thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to myself too, y'all. I ain't just talking to y'all. Because I fall into the comparison trap too. But this is why we get into these emotional cycles, because we're looking over the fence. So I got a little bit off topic, but understand, when it comes to your success, find out what that looks like for you. Nobody can tell you what that is but you. So I hope this is helpful, y'all. I really do. I'm going to go back through the top. Actually, I'll go all the way to the top for the 4 questions in evaluating self-care, and then I'll go back through the affirmations. So the 4 questions for you to evaluate your self-care is my self-care consistent? Is my self-care effective? Is my self-care healthy? And is my self-care holding me accountable? Those are the 4 questions. Going back to the top of the affirmations, there were 8 affirmations. Number 1 was, I make self-care a consistent priority in my life. I deserve to take care of myself and prioritize my well-being. I build healthy habits that support my physical and emotional health. My self-care routine restores my energy and rejuvenates my spirit. I choose to nourish myself and remain patient with the process. I am not defined by the expectations of those around me. I am enough and worthy of love and acceptance, and I invest in myself and am free to define my own version of success. I hope this was helpful. Tonight was self-care. Last week was work-life balance. The week before that, I don't remember. It's in the list. And then the week before that, I also don't remember. It's in the list. But we went through our whole poll. So this Saturday, I will post the poll for next Monday. We'll have a whole new set of topics. If there's any topics that you want me to include in the poll on Saturday, please put it in the comments so that way I can put them in the poll. And then, yeah, we'll be back here next Monday at 8 p.m. All mindfulness topics. If you guys didn't have any questions, definitely let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all then. Y'all be blessed. Y'all have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. You're welcome, Shaphonia. Have a good night.